I always need coffee.
You
You
always
always
need
need
coffee.
coffee.
All right. Yeah. That's the beautiful thing about coffee. Not only does it start us out in the mornings, it's also another way for us to connect and get to know each other. Some of you guys I already know very well, and actually I've met most of you already. So welcome to the Giving Cafe. Today, Bianca here will be assisting me. And yun nga, we're going to be sharing some of the things we had to go through in the World Barista Championship. So in the world of coffee, coffee is such a huge industry, billions of dollars per year. And in the world of coffee, there's people who just like coffee, and there's people who are fanatics about coffee. And I believe, the World Barista Championship is almost like F1 racing of coffee. It's crazy, it's wild. And that's one of the things that I'd like to share with all of you today. It is not only an experience for me of a lifetime, it's also a really nice way for the coffee industry to push forward. Coffee's been around for centuries. And coffee hasn't really evolved much in the last few years. Yung evolution ng coffee medyo mabagal eh. Hindi siya katulad ng mga ibang yung sa culinary, merong gastronomy, merong yung mukhang mukhang hindi na pagkain yung mga sinaserve, no? Yung coffee medyo lagging, mga laggers kami. And it's the WBC, or the World Barista Championship, which started about 25 years ago, was put together not only to create like a place for coffee lovers and coffee enthusiasts and the fanatics of coffee to come together, but to really push the industry forward. An espresso machine was invented a long, long time ago, and however it was in the beginning, till this day, ganun pa rin. Right? Nothing really much changed. Like, an espresso machine has 2 group heads or 3 group heads or how many group heads. It's got a boiler and it's got a steamer, right? Yung technology that they put in, Bluetooth, diba? Para mag-usap daw yung grinder at saka yung machine, or ngayon scales. But that kind of innovation is still, it's still not parang thinking outside the box. That's just taking whatever is available and putting it into the machine to sell it for a little bit more, right? So what the WBC does, or the World Barista Championship does, is it challenges baristas, right, from all over the world to, in our case, we have to serve 3 courses to 4 judges. And we have to, there's a technical judge as well, right, who checks if we're doing the right steps, or if we are touching the ground with our finger, and all that stuff, right? We're challenged to serve the best of the best coffees to these 4 sensory judges, and of course stand out, right? Yeah. And then in terms of innovation and how to push us to innovate, there's a set of rules that we have to play by. But rules, just like, I guess, rules anywhere, in any game, as long as you read the rules well, sometimes there's ways to innovate or get around the rules while not breaking them. So today I'll be talking about some of those things, and the reason why, and how we invented the better vessel, which is one of the main tools that helped in my WBC championship, helped me score one of the highest espressos, or the highest espresso during round 1. So we're going to be talking about that. In any point in time, if you guys have any questions, or if you guys have any, yung nga, kung may naisip kayo, right? Because I want this experience for you guys to be a little bit dynamic, right? So kung may mga naisip kayo, just to make the conversation flow differently from other times I do this, please feel free to ask. So yeah, we're gonna be talking about the experience. If you guys have any things that come to mind, feel free to ask. Also, the WBC is such an amazing experience that if at any time you guys have any chance to go during these World Barista events, kahit just to watch, it's such an enjoyable thing. In our case, when I first watched it, it was in 2017 in Korea, and I wasn't even there to watch the World Barista Championship. Actually, at the time, I thought these guys were out of their minds. These baristas, I thought they were crazy. Actually, I was there with one of my friends who's a hotelier, and we were at the trade show. It's called a cafe show, and it's just passed. Like last week, there's one every year, and we were walking around this huge show, and pagod kami. And since pagod kami, sabi namin, uy, upuan. Upo kami. So we sat there and we were like, what the heck are these guys doing? Tama-tama, the champ one ko, the barista from Dubai was preparing. It's this girl, and usually the Dubai baristas and Dubai champions are Filipinos or Filipinas. So I was like, hey, Filipino barista, let's see what they're doing. And when she said, you start your time by saying time, and then you start your spiel. And we thought, God, what she's doing is really difficult. You know, she's talking, serving, putting shots. Sabi ko, parang multitasking to the max. So we watched her, and then from pahinga, sitting down, we got stuck just watching it. So we watched her, the Dubai champion. We watched one of my idols, Dale Harris, from the UK. He won that year. And when we saw his routine, we're like, we don't understand the thing he's saying. What? And he was speaking in English. Sabi namin, we don't understand what he's saying, but that's cool, right? And my friend said, hey, I think you can do that. I was like, no way. Like that's like a TED Talk. That's a TED Talk while moving, and then there's usually a message, right? His was about volatile aroma compounds in coffee. And imagine that it's been years and I still remember what he was talking about, right? He won that year, it was amazing. So yeah, my friend said, hey, you can do that. And I was like, no way, I'm not gonna do that. Like, I can't even memorize a line. Right? And let alone, at the time, one of my greatest fears in life is being judged. Especially kasi, di ba when we're at school, kung pinapa-recitation tayo, pinapagalitan tayo, di ba? So talagang malaking fear ko yun, being judged or presenting in public or speaking. Yeah, it was one of my biggest fears. So I told my friend, no way. And then it stopped. We just sat there and we watched all 50 competitors that day. And I was like, wow, this is awesome. There's even a barista, her name is Nikki Suzuki. And back in 2017, when you grind your coffee once, that's good, that's the norm, but this lady, not only did she grind her coffee, she poured liquid nitrogen on it to freeze it. So parang, what the heck, what's she doing? So she ground it once. So that's already, in the world of coffee, that's at the time, that's already crazy. And then she poured more liquid nitrogen on it, and then she ground it another time. And I was like, what? And then yung theory niya behind it is, when you freeze your coffee and grind it, it shatters rather than cuts. So that's cool, diba? So when the coffee shatters, it's at its most permeable point. So what she was trying to do was to get her extraction of the coffee up. And then she ground it again so that there's more surface area. So that's how the WBC pushes things forward. This was in 2017, imagine that. So nung nasa airplane na ako, isip ko, maybe I'll give it a try. Even though I'm afraid of public speaking and I'm afraid of being judged, I'll give it a try. I will compete in the nationals. That was my idea. Compete in the nationals, and then if I make it, oh well, whatever. If I didn't make it, at least I tried, right? Because you'll never know unless you try. So I thought at the time, being an entrepreneur and owner of 2 roasting companies, Conlin's Coffee and Henry and Sons, that walang challenge. Dali, easy, CCU. So, compete ako 2018. And ang goal ko na naman mag-compete, not win. But who competes to not win, right? So, yeah, that year, I thought if I go to Origin, which was Ethiopia, I chose to go to Ethiopia, that would be a leg up on everybody, all the other baristas. And so I went to Ethiopia. I went to visit a farm. I learned what I needed to learn about farming. I chose my coffee, and I competed. I thought that was it. Turns out, these competitions have a lot of things you need to know. Number 1, you have to be a good barista, which I wasn't. I was an entrepreneur. Okay? I spent most of my time dreaming up new products or new methods of roasting coffee or marketing plans, business plans. Yun ang alam ko eh. That was my world, right? And I started in coffee 2000. So wala pang specialty coffee nun. So yeah, like I competed, got my butt kicked, came in 5th, felt really bad, and rage spent. Rage spent. Kasi that year, bumili ako ng 3D printer. Hindi pa uso 3D printer.
Naman?
Nag-aral ako ng, yung 3D printer nun, dumadating siya hindi buo. Dumadating siya pieces, and you assemble it. So naisip ko, pag inassemble ko to, I'm gonna get over that loss, that 5th place, right? So after assembling it, nag-aral ako ng CAD, nag-aral ako ng at the time, wala pong Fusion 360 eh. Nag-aral ako ng CAD, and then nag-aral ako ng 3D. I started printing stuff. I was like, hey, this is kind of fun. But losing sucks. So that was still in my mind. You know, I was like, okay, what are we gonna do? So I thought, okay, ano ba ang nangyari? Why did I lose? Well, first of all, one of the experiences in the National Barista Championship. So, di ba, 4 yung judges. At the time, I was a little bit obsessed with making high-density ice. And making this high-density ice takes a lot of effort. It takes about 24 hours. You need a styro box, and you freeze the ice in like distilled water. So solid to solid siya, super clear siya. The thing with that ice is, of course, ice siya. If you keep it in the freezer, it grows. So in that competition, when I served my 4 judges my signature drink, and nilapad ko yung ice dun sa tasa, shoot, ayaw pumasok sa tasa. Nakaupo siya dito sa taas. And then, of course, the drink was there. And the ice was up here. And because I wasn't that experienced as a barista, I served it. So the judge, I remember him. His name's Trent. He now lives in Canada. He used to live here and then he moved to Turkey. He was nice enough to look at it. And then syempre, kailangan yung tikman para ma-judge niya. And then he pushed the thing and scored it. Needless to say, like, yeah, I got my butt kicked. So, one of my learnings in that year was don't rage spend when you do it. It doesn't make you feel better, that's one. 2, if you're gonna compete in anything, you know, it's jumping in is one thing, right? But knowing it 100%, like, you know, reading the rules over and over again till you memorize it, and studying the score sheet is also very important, and losing is part of it, right? So that was my learnings that year. So inaral ko ngayon yung ang maganda sa WBC kasi is you're given your score sheet. So you can study it, you can see where you went wrong. And I memorized it. Like, at the time, they look for taste balance. Sweet, bitter, sour. So I knew every line on the score sheet. I memorized it, and I made sure that if I ever compete again, I could draw out the score sheet in the air and hit everything, right? So parang checklist yung score sheet, eh, diba? So if you can hit everything, panalo ka. Unless there's someone who's better than you. So 2019, yun yung goal ko. I wanted to win. And then I wanted to stand out, of course, and I understood that in order to stand out, you have to be totally different. So in 2019, I decided that I'm gonna focus on the milk because nobody ever focuses on the milk. Because on the score sheet, the highest scoring item would be the espresso and then the signature drink. So everyone works on those two. Nobody works on the milk. So that year, I decided that I'm going to make a concentrated milk. And the concentrated milk, at first I was boiling it. Serve ako condensate. Unfortunately, that didn't work out so well. So we came up with a technique called using a rotating evaporator to remove 50% of the water at a temperature of 30 degrees. So imagine that we were evaporating water at a temperature of out there, room temp ng Pilipinas at least. And what it makes is a very sweet milk that helped us score very well for our milk, of course. And needless to say, that year we won. And we brought that same technique to Boston, and we came in 15. So yeah, that's where my addiction, umaamin na yun, addiction in competition started. And I thought I would stop after, because we came in 15, and I was happy because all I wanted was to join. But when you compete in these things, you have to have a goal, and one of my goals was to bring Philippine coffee to the global coffee spotlight, or at least bring us Philippines onto that podium, which was not accomplished at the time. Right? Like, being a semi-finalist is far from being top 6 or winning. So it was unfinished business. So back to the drawing board. Okay, masarap na yung milk. What do we work on next? So that's when this campaign, this 2025 campaign started. And this campaign, I wanted to not only score high on my milk course, I wanted really top scores on my espresso. And so those are the two drinks that I really worked on. And espresso kasi, so I interviewed a lot of our customers here at the Giving Cafe, right? And their main barrier to espresso is they say, I don't drink espresso kasi it's bitter, paet, diba? And then, isip ko, where's that bitterness coming from? So, for a while, I love espresso, I drink it every day. I love it the way it is. And then, we started thinking outside the box. And one of the other things we wanted to do was bring Liberica to the World Stage. Liberica is Barako. No? That's one of the things we call it here in the Philippines. I wanted to bring Liberica to the world stage. I wanted to showcase our coffee. And Liberica, usually, ang Liberica, matamis yan eh, it should be sweet. If it's roasted right, and it's processed right, it should be sweet. The only issue with Liberica is it's got high umami. So if mali yung pag-brew, lasa siyang soy sauce. There's a tendency for that. Fruity soy sauce. And serving, that in to 4 sensory judges is going to be difficult if it tastes like soy sauce. Right? If that's your taste notes. So what we noticed was there's a few things we had to do in the processing side, where I used enzymes and a lot of science to tweak the flavor. And then on the espresso side, I needed to take out that umami taste. And what we found was by skimming off the crema, the coffee is a little bit more palatable. And not only that, when we tried that on other coffees, we noticed that the bitterness totally came down. So, that's when the story of the better vessel started, which is what I'm going to be serving you guys with today. So, when we first discovered that removing the crema was helpful, we were scooping it out with tablespoons, which mano-mano, medyo matagal, and then hindi mo makuha lahat, no? And then, may bright idea kami, sabi namin, sige, let's pour it into a filter. And 9 times out of 10, stuff is spilling on the table. So imagine you have 900 seconds or 15 minutes in a WBC presentation, and you have these 4 judges who's spilling stuff and I have to keep wiping. I thought, workflow, hindi okay yan. So I was talking to my son one day, at the time he was 14, his name is Liam. He's really cool, but a little bit nerdy. So sabi ko, hey Liam, I'm trying to figure out how I can make the workflow like this. He doesn't drink coffee, by the way. And then sabi niya, pinul ko yung shot sa isang espresso, cup na ganito. So sabi niya, hey, Dad, you know it floats? Crema goes to the top. And well, if you have a valve in the bottom and it falls out, the crema is going to be left on top. So yeah, right, whatever. I don't believe it. So, back to the 3D printer. Yung Rage pen na 3D printer. So I started designing, and then I designed this odd-looking thing. It didn't look like that yet. And if you guys want pictures of that, I'll take a picture of it. It's really ugly in the first version. And yeah, true enough, he was right. When you open a valve in the bottom and the espresso just falls out, because of buoyancy, CO2, crema is made out of CO2 and a few oils. Pansin nyo kung nagluluto kayo and then lumamig yung luto nyo, yung oil sumasebo. Parang ganon. It just stays on top. I was like, oh wow, we're onto something. So, 100 revisions later, we came up with a better vessel, which looks like this. So what we did was, we needed as much surface area on the top as possible. And the surface area is where the crema is kept, where it's what catches it or traps it. And then we have a ball, and a gasket, and a little pusher that pushes the ball up, that unlocks it. So when we did this, and then we used it, and the first time I tried it, my jaw dropped. I was like, oh my gosh, wow, I think we're onto something. So we started practicing with it, and then we filed our patent and everything. And sabi ko, gagamitin ko sa World Cup. And the coffee that we used in the world stage is called Eugenioides and the American blend. So we use 70% Eugenioides, which is a different species. Both these species are non-Arabica species. Yung species kasi ng coffee na alam natin ay Robusta, Arabica, yan yung normal. Diba? But I didn't want to be the same kasi there's 54 of us competing in the world stage, right? Everyone's probably using an Arabica. No, nobody uses a Robusta, but everyone's using an Arabica. So I wanted to stand out. I wanted to be different. So I decided, okay, let's use a Eugenioides, which is the parent species of the Arabica. Right? So kung may family tree, dito siya yung lolo or grand-grandfather. The flavor profile of the Eugenioides is it's very, very sweet with very low bitterness. And then yung Liberica natin, in this case, it was very fruity and very sweet. So sweet plus super, super sweet. That was the idea. And yeah, we went to the world, and I wanted to introduce not just the better vessel, which is a Filipino invention, but also our coffees. And we were lucky enough that we got in the WBC this year because they decided to do live scoring. So that means at every round your score is put into a database, and it's instantaneous. So when I went and I competed, I didn't expect to be #1 espresso. Actually, I found out gabi na. But I felt really good about that presentation because it was to me, I got to face my fears. Not only did I put myself in a situation to be judged, I was able to present, and I was able to highlight Philippine coffee. So, na-check ko yung list ko. And then bonus na lang yung number 1 espresso for the first round. So, if you guys are prepared, I'm going to pull you guys some shots, and then we're going to have the coffee together. So, Bianca and I will serve the espressos in the better vessel, and we're going to put it on your trays. Feel free to lean over and give it a smell, the aroma. The aroma of this coffee, or the coffees we're serving today, is, I had it this morning. So, if you guys know strawberry roll-ups, yung candy ng mga bata, so you're gonna find strawberry, you're gonna find raspberry as well, and white chocolate. And then, when you guys taste it, you guys are gonna find, once again, what you can smell is what you're gonna be tasting, right? Like, magkadikit yan eh, yung volatile aroma compounds niya. So, sa taste naman, you guys are going to also find strawberry jam, and then yung white chocolate na aroma, magiging milk chocolate na siya. In terms of sweetness, I would say it's high in sweetness. The acidity is medium, and the bitterness is very, very low. So, we'll serve it, give it a smell, and then we can use the better vessel together. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to pick it up like this, and then we're going to put it on top. But we can do that together. So I'm going to pull the shots and prepare, and then we'll serve it out. In the case of espresso naman, it's not that necessary to drink it super, super hot. It's actually good to let it rest. And in the case of the better vessel, yung napansin nga ng anak ko, lumulutang siya, so it takes time. So if you watch my routine at the WBC, I spoke for about a minute or a minute and a half before I asked them to engage. So, may reason yun, hindi lang kasi madandan ako. Madandan talaga. But, inip na yung mga judges eh, parang tingin na lang eh. And then I kept saying, wait for my instructions before drinking it. And then ang sungit pa na mukha ko kasi wait for my instructions. But yeah, there was a reason. So I'm gonna start putting shots, and then please enjoy the aroma, and then we can enjoy the espressos